The attack started at 5 a.m. That's early. That's man, that's rough times for starting a battle. At 5 a.m., you're like, can I get my coffee first?
Hello lovers, welcome back to Travel Snacks. So today we take a journey from Midland, Texas to Austin, Texas. But there is a plot twist in the middle in this episode, so let's jump right in. Sorry, this is gonna be shaky and loud because I'm driving in somewhere, Texas, in the middle of the nowheres. After the drive-in movie last night, I found a residential area to sleep in, which was great. So quiet, so peaceful, nobody's tapping on my window. And then I went to the Planet Fitness, got my shower, oh, so fresh. And then I don't have it. The charger that charges the batteries for this camera broke. So that's the second thing to break. Went to Best Buy. And the charger that I had was like $8. And this thing at Best Buy, this thing right here, $44.99. That's not Amazon, okay? So I get this in the car, I'm driving, and this thing doesn't even work. For $45, it doesn't even work. So gotta be going back. So I get on the road from Midland, and I'm headed out to Austin. I get to drive in, and I'm talking to my mom on the phone, and I look down, and I'm just like, I only have a quarter tank of gas. So I turn around, drive all the way back to Midland, 15 minutes, get my gas, and then I get back on the road again. And thank God I did, because literally there's like nothing out here. Like, it's just, I'm about an hour and a half into my drive, and I started to feel tired, like not just tired, but like kind of that falling asleep tired, which that doesn't usually happen to me. But I guess just the lull of the drive, and just like, you know, I've been driving every day for 5 and 6 hours, and it's just, I think it's catching up to me. So I was like, oh my gosh. So finally I got to this like smallest little town. Like, it only had like one store and a burrito shop. And so I went into the gas station, and something I usually never do is I bought a 5-hour energy. Now, I'm not into energy drinks. I think I've had like 1 or 2 energy drinks in my whole life, but I was like, look, I gotta drive for another like 5 hours in the middle of nowhere, and I'm not trying to fall asleep or park on the side of the road. So I get this bottle, I open it, and I'm not a 5-hour energy drinker, so I'm like, okay, you just must drink this whole thing. So I'm like drinking it, and it's nasty, it's gross. So then I'm like, well, wait, I should probably read the directions after. Like, I drank almost all of it. So like, I drank like up to like where my finger is. So there's just like a little bit left. And I put in my glasses, and then I read it, and it's like, if you just want basic energy, drink half of it. If you want maximum energy, drink the whole thing. So far so good. I'm pretty awake now. Plot twist, instead of going to Austin now, I'm gonna go to San Antonio. I was driving through Texas, and it's a long drive, and I was like, well, there's a lot that I want to see in Austin, and I'm only gonna be able to stay there like one night. So I'm gonna go to San Antonio instead, because there's less things that I want to see there, and it's like maybe 15 or 20 minutes closer to where I am, so it seems like a good move. Speaking of food, I think I played myself because I had too many different combination of snacks, because I was hungry, and I was like, okay, I'll just have a little snack. So I ate my leftover popcorn from the movies last night, and that didn't really fill me up. I ate half of a protein bar, and then that wasn't filling enough. Bag of Ruffles, and I ate that whole bag, most of the 5-hour energy, and it had some Coke, and not cocaine, Coke. And that would be so crazy if I was driving coked out. That'd be bad. I think some people do that, and that's not a good idea. Anyway, that was a side tangent. Anyway, I think all those combination of flavors isn't sitting well in my stomach. I feel like kind of unstable, which is a bad feeling when you're driving for a long time, and I'm not going to get to San Antonio for another hour and a half. Also, I have thoughts. I was in Midland, and I went to Planet Fitness. I was walking up the door. There was a guy behind me, probably in his 30s. And he rushed up and he opened the door. I was like, oh, that's so nice. And then I said, thank you. He goes, yes, ma'am. I was like, oh, like, okay, people actually say that. Okay. I'm like, that's so nice. Like, that's manners. And I'm like, just having these deep thoughts about different cultures and different parts of the United States. Like, how come people in California don't really do that? And when did that start? Like, how did some states have these types of manners and other states don't? Like, how did that start? Like, how deep does that go? I don't know. These are the deep thoughts that I have on these long journeys. Also, like I'm thinking about like Little House on the Prairie, because like they said that on Little House on the Prairie. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Where was that? Like, I need to do a deep dive into like Little House on the Prairie. Okay, so I woke up in the Walmart parking lot in San Antonio, Texas. I really wasn't planning to stay in the Walmart parking lot, but I was super tired at that point. And so while I was in Walmart, I asked an associate, is it okay for overnight parking for cars? And she was like, I don't know, but I don't think we've ever called a tow truck on anybody. All right, now in this parking lot, I don't see any security officers roaming around, and there's no signs posted. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a shot. And I was just deliriously tired. Like, I went into Jimmy John's before that to order, and I like, words could not come out of my mouth. Like, I was just saying random things, and they were looking at me like, what is happening? I was like, am I having a stroke? Like, what is happening? I couldn't process, and I just knew that I was just overly tired. So it was a decent sleep, but I was feeling kind of PTSD about sleeping in the Walmart parking lot because of what happened a few days earlier at the Las Cruces Walmart. Compared to yesterday, I feel like so much better. So now I already ate my breakfast, got ready, and now I'm going to the Alamo, which, I mean, remember the Alamo? I can't remember it because I haven't been in school for so long. So, like, what even is the Alamo? I know it's like a battle. Let's see. While we're remembering the Alamo, why don't we remember to subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell, and throw a like on it. The Alamo for Dummies. You don't have to be a history whiz or a geography whiz to travel. Like, you could just be a normal person that doesn't know a lot of things about school. And if you just have common sense, you'll do well traveling. So you could just look things up as you go. Thanks to Google.
Okay, everybody wanted Texas in the 1800s. President John Quincy Adams offered $1 million for it. Andrew Jackson upped the offer to $5 million. That's a lot for back then, like, so much. But the newly independent country of Mexico wasn't interested in selling. But some explained reason Mexico did not allow Americans to settle there. Let me tell you this, New Mexico doesn't allow Americans to settle in their parking lots either. Battle of the Alamo is one of the most famous battles in American military history, even more so because it was a horrendous defeat. The people of Texas had declared themselves independent from Mexico. The Mexican army was determined to bring Texas back to the fold. The Alamo, originally named Mission San Antonio de Valero, the church was a strategic location. Since knowing this, the Texas forces lugged a bunch of weapons and men to the Alamo, aiming to keep the Mexican army out. At that time, the Mexican forces numbered 6,000, and the total number of men at the Alamo in Texas was no more than 250. I guess a lot of Mexicans died along the way because of illness and stuff. So at the time of the battle, there was only 1,500. The attack started at 5 a.m. That's early. That's early. That's rough times for starting a battle. At 5 a.m., you're like, can I get my coffee first? Mexican soldiers advanced in 4 successive waves with cavalry standing by. 3 hours later, it was over. Oh no. No, that's a long time for battle, but also, the battle also served as a rallying cry for the American troops who invaded Mexico a decade later. Many were heard to be uttering the rally cry, "Remember the Alamo!"
War is always sucky. That's sad. Like, people don't need to die. That's terrible. Well, I'm going to see the Alamo. I think it's an important historical situation, and I'm also here in San Antonio, so why not? I got to downtown San Antonio where the Alamo is, and I found a website called Parkopedia or something like that, and it shows you where the cheapest parking is, and it showed me one that was $5, and I'm like, all right, cool. So I get here and I go up to the machine and it says it's $10. Liars. So I'm not paying $10 to park just to walk around for like 30 minutes. You might be saying, just pay the $10, big whoop, you're only gonna be there one time. But I'm gonna be seeing like hundreds of sites across the United States, and if you pay $10 every time just for parking, that's gonna add up. That's atrocious. I'm just not gonna do it. So this is what's gonna happen. We're gonna do a drive-by, I'm gonna show you, and then we'll remember the Alamo that way. Alright, so even though that was a quick drive-by of the Alamo, I mean, it was just cool to see it. Honestly, like, it looked like a pretty small, like, area, like, not major walkage. So to park and just walk around for like 30 minutes, probably, I didn't feel like it was worth it. But there's one last thing that I want to do in San Antonio before I leave, and it's a recommendation from my friend Angel, her favorite Mexican restaurant called La Fogata. So she says it's delicious, so I've got to go check it out. Usually when I go to Mexican food, I get a taco or a burrito, and I'm not really an enchilada person, but this place is particularly known for their enchiladas. In fact, their chicken enchilada with verde sauce is, I think, a featured item, and I believe it was featured in Southern Living magazine. I could be wrong, but I think that's what it said on the menu. It was so good. So to rate the enchiladas, I would say my least favorite, but still good, was beef. Then the cheese, and it was very creamy cheese. It was really good. And then the chicken. I see why they're known for this green chili chicken enchilada, because the green sauce had a citrusy flavor to it, and it was just so good paired with the chicken. So it was a hit. And then, I've never even heard of this, but they had a guava empanada with a side of vanilla ice cream, and oh my gosh, like, wow, like, it was legit. I really wasn't sure what to expect, but it had like a nice crispy outer shell, and then it had like little chunks of guava, and then like a guava like paste kind of thing. It was just so good. Oh my gosh, that was a flavor that I never had. Like, when you first bite it, you're like, that's weird, like, do I like this flavor? But then if you take another bite, you just want to keep taking more bites, and then it's just really good. It's like a unique flavor. So I could definitely eat more of those, and it was a great dinner. After that, I wasn't really ready to make a long drive, so I just decided to stay in the same Walmart parking lot that I did last night, because I knew it was safe, it was quiet, and I knew I could get a good night's sleep.